at Pan M360. We are with Nabihah Iqbal. Nabihah has released the album called Dreamer in 2023 on Ninja Tune label. And in 2017, she released Weighing of the Heart. And she's going to perform a live set at Rialto Hall on Saturday, September 28th, in the context of POP Montreal Festival. Hello, Nabihah.
Hello, Alain. Thanks for having me for this
I'm
interview.
very pleased because I listened carefully your last record. We just observed that it's a sort of very personal blend of ethereal wave, electronic, also ambient rock. It's very personal, and I'd like to know how you built it progressively.
I mean, I feel like when I make music, I don't think too consciously about the actual sound of it, and probably everyone who makes music in like a sincere way is the same. So everything that comes out is a product that everything that goes in. And for me, it makes sense that my music straddles the electronic world and also the guitar world, because growing up, my first obsession was really guitar bands. I grew up listening to a lot of like alternative music, a lot of punk and metal and that kind of stuff, and going to a lot of gigs. But then as I got older and I was able to go to nightclubs, then I really loved going out dancing and being on the dance floor. And growing up in the UK, there's just so many amazing genres of electronic music that have come from there. And I love both of them with equal passion. So they've kind of slot together. And then I guess like the kind of pinnacle of that is really the 80s as well, because in the 1980s is when you first really start seeing bands, traditional bands that use, guitar, drums, bass, but really experimenting with synthesizers and drum machines and effects. So I think that's why a lot of people will compare my music to bands from the 80s that they like. And yeah, I guess that's in a nutshell how I'd explain why it sounds how it does. Um, I love playing the guitar, but I also feel that with synthesizers and electronic music, there's a real emotion that you can create with layering of different sounds. And so, yeah, I just love mixing both together.
Yeah, this is what I could observe, that you're multi-instrumentalist and also an electronic producer at the same time. Well, now more and more people don't make any difference. You just use the tool you want to use, and that's it. We are in 2024. We can use electronics. We can use electric guitar or normal drums or synthesized drums. So there's no problem with that. And you just grew up this way, I suppose.
Yeah, and we're really lucky to be in an era where all of those things are available to you. And everyone can have a go at making music on their computer with whatever's available to them. And it gives you this freedom to experiment. And also, I feel like it levels the playing field a bit, It's like if you want to have a go, you can have a go. Because I feel like maybe in the 60s or the 70s, like you might have a band, you might be making music, but then to get access to a studio to record music or just even one song would be a real challenge. But now we don't live in that era. Now you can record.
What have you studied in ethnomusicology? And is there any link between your music and what your interests in ethnomusicology? Maybe it's not relevant at all.
I studied ethnomusicology as part of my undergraduate degree. So I went to the School of Oriental and African Studies, which is a really specialist college that's part of the University of London. And I initially just applied to study history because that's my favorite subject. But whilst I was there, when I first started, I went to this performance that was put on by the music department, and it was of the kora, which is a West African harp. And I'd never heard anything like it. That time I was 19, I was so into music, and then this just blew my mind. So I asked to swap to see if I could study both history and ethnomusicology as a joint course, and they let me. And so that was a really important moment in my life now looking back. At the time, you know, you don't really realize the significance of it, but studying it for 3 years there at university, it really opened up my mind to thinking about what music means to people in different cultures, what music, what the universal meaning of music is to all of us, all humans. And it was really fun as well because I got to study and learn different types of instruments. My main performance instrument was the sitar, which was extremely difficult to play. And then I also took courses in Balinese and Javanese gamelan, which is like a percussive orchestra that comes from Indonesia, and classical Thai ensemble. And I tried to learn a bit of the ney, which is a Turkish reed flute, but it was so hard. It took me maybe 3 months to even make a sound, so I had to give up because I was too far behind on that. Yeah, but it was amazing. For anyone who loves music, I think just I feel like if you really truly love music, then you have to be open to all types of music. There's something to appreciate in all of it, whether it's pop music or whether it's a field recording of really obscure, you know, music from a tribe in like the Central African rainforest. Like there's something in all of it, all of it. So that's maybe the most important thing it taught me.
It's really a global approach then. You know, we cannot pinpoint some regional elements in your music, and it's not relevant to try to find it because, you know, it's a
No.
sort of colonial question, you know, when we ask that. So it's not a relevant question. You know, I know your background is South Asian, but what you're telling me is that you're interested with West African music, South Asian, Occidental, from everywhere. So, like every human being opened in 2024, that's it.
Yeah. And I think we've got a lot to thank the internet for that as well, because now so much is accessible. I mean, even when I was at university back then, there still wasn't, it was kind of pre the whole like Spotify. Well, I mean, I don't know, just before the internet became a really easy place to search for different types of music, I guess. So I was making copies from CDs that I was borrowing from the library at university of different types of music. But now, and then also when I started doing my radio show on NTS, and my studies in ethnomusicology were really the inspiration behind the radio show. When I started, that was 2013. And even looking back from now till that time, a lot has changed as well. Because I think
Mhm.
when I first started doing that, there weren't really a lot of other people doing similar things. And that music wasn't as exposed as it is now. Now there's so many record labels putting out compilations of different types of music from around the world, different eras. There's loads of like websites and social media accounts that really share a lot of different types of music and performances, and they get, you know, they're really popular. So yeah, I think it's good because the more we're exposed to different cultures, the more tolerant we are of each other.
Excellent. Yeah. And, you know, we see that everywhere, but well, you know, UK is a sort of huge blend of cultures, and North America too. So we understand that since generations now. It's getting better and better. We have a lot of improvement to do, but it's better. It's better than it was. We wouldn't have had this conversation 40 years ago, for example. The same way,
Yeah. Yeah, I
white
probably wouldn't
guy
be
would
doing
have
what I'm doing.
a white guy would have asked you, why don't you put some Pakistani music in your music, which is
Yeah.
totally irrelevant. You know, it's not good. So now let me see or just imagine the difference between dreamer content, the songs or the pieces, and the delivery on stage. Probably it has evolved because the record has been released 1 year and a half ago, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it was different from the start, to be honest, because when I made the record and recorded it alone, basically, I've done everything on that album except 4 tracks which feature live drums. My drummer Remy Graves recorded those. But apart from that, it was really like a solo project, and I wasn't, and there's a lot of layers and textures in the music, and I wasn't thinking when I'm making the music, I'm not thinking about, okay, how is this going to translate as a live thing? I thought like, okay, this is one project, and then developing the live show is a separate project. So I think it was probably March last year that I put the band together. There's four of us in the band. There's drummer, bassist, and then another guitarist. He does guitar and synth and backing vocals, and then I do vocals and guitar. And I knew that transcribing the recorded album for a live set was going to involve changing up the music a bit, because there's no way that we could play the whole entire thing like for like without having more musicians on the stage. And also I didn't want to try and do that anyway. So I mean, it's been an amazing experience for me, because it's actually the first time I've played with a band. But you know, one of the first things I said to all of them was like, look, listen to the music and just figure out what you want to bring to it in your own way, and don't worry about trying to make it sound exactly like the record, because it's not going to be like that. And so actually the live arrangements are different, and the sound we create, like we managed to create a really big sound on the stage as well when we play as a four-piece. The arrangement's different slightly for some of the songs, like we have more kind of like breakdown jammy kind of sections, and it's just so fun playing with all of them. So yeah, most of the shows have been as a four-piece, but for touring purposes I've also been doing shows as a duo, where it's just me and my guitarist Al, and we trigger more backing track stuff for that. And it's just because of the cost of touring. I would love to do all the shows around the world with the full band, but in places like America and Australia is just too much. But hopefully for the next album, the finances will allow for me to travel with the whole band all the time.
Excellent. So we're looking forward to hear that for our first time in Montreal. So very pleased with that. Nabihah Iqbal, I thank you very much for this interview.
Oh, thank you so much for speaking to me, and hopefully I'll see you at POP Montreal.
Yes, I'm going to be there.
Okay, great.
Bye, and have a great tour.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I'll see you at the end of it, the last date.
Okay, bye now.
Okay, all right, bye.
Bye.